Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to remove the steerer. It's a relatively quick process. The general steps will be we're going to remove the front brake cable, then we're going to remove the fork, then we're going to remove a couple of screws that are securing the steerer and pull the steerer out, and then finally we'll remove the handlebar from the stem. So let's go ahead and start with removing the front brake cable. To remove the front brake cable, we want to line up the barrel adjuster slots in line with the slot on the front brake lever. So I've done that here. And then you can pull on the brake cable housing and then the brake will come out quite easily. So now we're going to go ahead and remove the breakaway nut so that we can remove the fork. We're going to take our 3mm hex key and place it inside the set screw. And then we're going to get our 10mm wrench and start unscrewing the aluminum nut. Keep in mind that this nut is aluminum, so make sure that your wrench is seated nicely so that you don't round off the edges accidentally. Also, we're not actually turning the hex key, we're only turning the wrench, so keep the hex key stationary and only unscrew the nut. Once you've gotten it a few turns, you can go ahead and continue by hand. Then we can also remove the remaining parts. There's a washer, elastomer, and there'll be a stainless steel spacer in there as well. With the breakaway nut now removed, we can remove the front fork. So this is a familiar step for you. Just release the secondary safety, unscrew the front knob, but keep in mind as you're doing this, the fork will completely separate from the bike. So once you've passed the ratchets on the safety, you can grab your fork and then continue unscrewing the knob. And then now, holding the fork crown, remove the fork, place it on the ground, preferably with the tire side down. And now we will flip the bike into a position that will allow us to remove the steer. So to remove the steerer, we're going to need our 3mm hex key and our 10mm hex key. So we'll start by removing the smaller screw. This screw has been installed using Loctite, so take extra care to make sure that the hex key is seated all the way down to the bottom of the hex feature. One thing you can do while unscrewing it is use your thumb to put pressure, downwards pressure on it, and then go ahead and unscrew it. It'll take a little bit of force to break the Loctite's lock, but once you've done that, it'll unscrew quite easily. Then we'll grab our 10mm hex key and we'll unscrew the larger screw. You might want to use your foot to secure the handlebar so that it doesn't twist, and then go ahead and unscrew this screw. We're going to unscrew it only 2 turns. So 1, 2. The reason for that is we want to be able to use this screw to push the steerer out of the head tube. So there's a couple ways of doing this. The best or the easiest way is to first try doing it by hand. So use your thumbs and press against the down tube and the fork crown, or leverage against those 2 parts and push down with your thumbs, and you may be able to push the steerer out this way. So I was able to do that. If you're not able to do that, then your other option is to use a rubber mallet. If you're going to use a rubber mallet, then just be sure to lift up the frame and then tap down very lightly until you see the steerer getting pushed out. If you don't have a rubber mallet, your other option is to use a hammer, but if you're going to use a hammer, make sure you're tapping it as centered as possible because it's going to be metal on metal and you may leave some small impressions on the screw, but be extra careful not to tap the screw on the outside edges as they could bend. So now we're going to flip the bike back into the folded position. So with the bike in this folded position, we can now finish removing that large screw. So again, with your 10mm hex key, just turn it until it comes out. And now all that's left is we have to remove the steerer, and then we're going to remove the faceplate of the stem. To remove the steerer, you're going to want to keep an eye on how the fork crown is positioned. The fork crown right now wants to sag, and as it's sagging, it's going to make it more difficult to pull the steerer out as it's biting into the surface of the steerer. So you're going to want to sort of neutralize the force on it. So one thing you can do is just pull with your fingers and sort of try and center it. You obviously can't see below, but give it a sort of centered feeling. You'll know that you have the two extremes, the left and the right. So once you've centered it, you can just pull up and it'll come out quite easily. Now that the steerer has been removed, we're going to go ahead and remove the faceplate of the stem. So we'll use our 4mm hex key for that, and we'll unscrew it right now. All that's left is we need to fold the steerer. So that's a familiar process. Again, we're going to release the secondary safety, unscrew the knob, and fold the steerer. And this is essentially what you're going to be sending into us.